All right, I'll let everyone in and we should be good to go.
All right, we're good to go, Shane.
Yeah, we should be good to go.
All right, it's Wednesday, January 7th at 6:30 p.m. We have quorum, so I'll open the Bridgewater Planning Board meeting, item one. I'll just read something in quickly. The meeting is being held remotely in accordance with the provisions of the open meeting law. Um, Members of the public are encouraged to participate remotely and shall address the questions to the chair of the board or the host, who's Mr. O'Brien this evening. This meeting is being recorded. I'm Patrick Driscoll, the chair. Mr. Michael McDonald, the vice chair, will be joining us shortly. Mr. Stephen Geller is here. Mr. Tom Pratty is here. Mr. Chris John Fabrowski is here. Mr. Eric Costa, we expect to join us at some point as well. So we do have quorum though. During the meeting, because of Zoom, all votes will be roll call. We do have the following Bridgewater Town staff with us this evening. Mr. Shane O'Brien, the town planner. Mr. Greg Tanzi, the town engineer. Mr. Solari is not with us, correct? No.
Steve came in and Bob's gonna run late because they had a 6 o'clock ZBA meeting.
All right. At this point, everyone's mics are muted. The board's mics will be unmuted through the whole meeting. And as items appear on the agenda, the project's representatives' mics will be unmuted. If this is a project that's a public hearing and allows for public comment, we ask that you use the chat feature to ask your question by listing your name, your address, and your question. The chair or the host will recognize questions in order. You can also use the raise my hand feature in the participant menu if you wish to speak, and you'll be unmuted when the chair or the host recognizes you. Again, please state your name and address before asking a question or making a comment. And if you're on the phone, you can dial *9 to raise your hand. The first item up, we have an A&R for 95 Pleasant Street. This is map 33, lot 80. Mr. O'Brien, we do have the application I saw that you included in the packet.
Yep, application fee, all that is within the packet. I did include a memo, as well as I did place into the folder, just from historical purposes, the 2023 request for A&Rs, both the one that was withdrawn and the one that was denied. So that was provided to the board.
Okay. So I'll turn it over to the applicant or their representative.
Good evening. Larry Silva from Silver Engineering Associates. Rebecca will bring up the plan that's before you. But basically, this is in line with the governor's changes that she made last year as it related to sort of grandfathered properties that were out there, as long as they met certain minimum sizes. And in this particular case, you can see that on the corner of Pleasant and Crane Street, there's a parcel, a rectangular parcel. You can see the dotted line that shows the old property line. So that lot or parcel that was to the left is what's grandfathered. So under the statute, that is a legal lot. And so this plan that's before you is merely to take some of the land from the existing home site to the right and actually add it to it in order to make that grandfathered lot larger than what the minimum size is. And as you can see, what it does is it allows for the existing house lot to still remain at 18,500, which is what's required in that zone. And it allows for this grandfathered lot to increase in size, not to the minimum, but to 15,000, I can't read that number, 680 or something like that, 695. And that's all it is. That's what's all before you, is to allow for us to transfer that trapezoidal piece over to what is called 80B. And 80A would be the existing house lot that's on the corner of Union and Pleasant Street.
So Larry, just looking at this, I agree with. So Shane sent the letter over, and I saw Mr. Solari's letter. Um, but originally, this lot had 194 feet of frontage on Crane Street and 50 or so feet of frontage on Pleasant.
Yeah, that's the grandfathered lot, and no, it had 75, I think it was.
Well, 75 is with the lot next to it as well, right?
Um,
Crane Street gives its frontage, not Pleasant Street.
yeah, Crane Street has the frontage for that lot when it was created.
And all right, and then just
So that's the lot right there when it came out
all right,
of the subdivision in the 19
all right.
30s. Actually, it got conveyed to these folks. And just for historical perspective, the Bassetts had lived in what's shown as Lot 1. They had lived in Lot 1 for over 10 years before they purchased lots 18 and 19, and when Bridgewater Savings Bank was sort of divvying up these lots. And so they bought it as extra land, and that's how they carried it.
So lot one isn't changing at all, right?
Lot 1 isn't changing except that it is joined to Lot 18 because it needed to get larger when the zoning changed and so forth. So it was annexed to that one, but it did not annex to the third lot there, the lot 19.
So where is the old lot line for the
It's right in between what? Which one?
where is the old line? Where is the other line for parcel A that was between where is the
We
other
didn't
side?
show another line because it was all part of it was already annexed to the house lot. But it went through basically just about where that projection comes out on the side. It was pretty close to the edge of the house. That may have encroached on it just about a foot or so.
Right, but I'm just trying to so that the lot with the existing house on it, right?
Yep.
That's now bigger than what was shown on the last plan you showed us, correct?
On the last, which one?
On the original plan, the recorded
The
plan.
original plan, the house didn't have that little porch over to the left side.
No, can you go back to that original plan?
Yep.
So if you're saying that on lot one, the lot line didn't change, where is that lot, the right lot line from lot 18? Where is the old lot line?
Yeah, what's the frontage along the A&R? Because on this plan it shows it as 80, 60, 60.
Because you're
Right,
showing
because
you're showing
lot 18 was already joined to lot 1 because of zoning. What it did not encumber was lot 19 based on the governor's statute.
so but lot 19 as shown here, how many square feet is it?
Lot 19 alone,
Correct.
10,969 square feet.
And that's with 60 feet of frontage?
Yeah. No, but it had frontage on Crane Street.
All right, no, but go back to the old plan. I'm just trying to go back to the old plan.
The old plan had frontage on Crane Street and Pleasant Street. At the time, lots that were on Pleasant Street were legal with 60 feet of frontage on Pleasant Street, but this particular one had 60 on Pleasant and it had 198 on Crane Street.
Another question I had just looking at this earlier. So I know the town doesn't really maintain Crane Street anymore because, and I guess, is that considered a public way? I mean, I know you don't list it on.
It's a private way. I don't think it was ever accepted as a town road. There are houses that front only on Crane Street, though there is one that fronts. I think it's somewhere around lots 13 or 14. Somewhere in there is one that's a 55, maybe 55 Crane or 95 Crane in my head.
But is that
There's one that's just fronts on Crane Street. There's
So-
others that front on both Crane and Mount Prospect, and ones that are on Pleasant, and as this one is. The house that's adjacent to this one across Crane Street, which is shown as lot 20 here, it actually has a driveway off of Crane Street to get into their house lot.
So can we use the Crane Street frontage as frontage if it's not a public way?
You can.
Yeah. You do it all the time on every Form A that comes in. A Form A does not say that it has to be a public way. It has to be a way.
No, I think what the statute says, Pat, is that as long as it's built, because what Larry was saying, I think there is a house built at 55 Crane Street, um, that does exist. So Crane Street does exist as a private way, being that it's the difference between a public way and a private way is just really based on town maintenance. Um, it's not necessarily a paper street because it had been built out to, it's not to town standard, but it is adequate frontage based on what the statute is requiring for what an A&R plan is.
And I guess I'm okay with it. I mean, I'm okay with it as long as Crane Street can be. That just came, and just looking at the
Well,
plan.
but remember, Mr. Driscoll, is that what's before you in that Form A is got nothing to do with Crane Street or Pleasant Street. All it's doing is transferring land from the Bassett original Bassett lot plus 18, taking some of that lot 18 land and putting it on the 19 to make it a bigger lot. It's not changing anything as it relates to Crane Street or Pleasant Street. Just adding more area. That lot is already grandfathered.
So and just looking at this though, so
Yeah, but
18,
you're adding frontage on Pleasant Street.
18 and 19 combined had 120 square feet, right?
120 feet of frontage.
Right, it's 120 feet of frontage. So how did that change?
It it didn't change. There were individual lots, but and Steve can speak to it
But
too.
where
He's
is
here too.
but I guess
Yeah.
I guess my question is where is that line? Where is that line? Right. So that's
18 has to stay with 1 because basically, like Larry said, the house kind of encroaches onto 18. And also, for zoning purposes, to have a 25-foot setback, 18 has to stay with 1.
Right.
But what Larry's doing is taking land from that, which is still keeping the setback for the main house and adding it onto lot 19. But as far as the grandfathering part, my concern has always been just lot 19. The adding of the land to it is just an extra.
and we think
So if you go back to the A&R plan, what's the frontage on lot 19 now? Is that still 60 feet? Is that bigger?
No, it's more than 60 feet. It's
So you're changing that too.
75.
Frontage is 75 feet.
So
So you're
75
adding-
feet
you're
shown
adding
on
15
there.
feet in the front.
So if we need to determine adequacy away, right? Adequacy of access, right?
Yeah.
And Crane Street's in deplorable condition and it's private. Can we, Shane, in your opinion, does that have adequate access?
I would say
You're not
that
making that determination. All you're doing is allowing for additional land to be added to the lot that's already at the corner of Pleasant and Crane.
I would say adequate access. I leave it up to the board in terms of the determination, but from my perspective, it is a roadway that can be traveled upon and with property owners and the private property owners who access it.
Have you been down it?
Have I been down
I
Craneway?
don't-
I drive by it every day. So
I don't think you can get through it.
It's rough.
I just want to make sure that the frontage, I just want to make sure that the frontage we're utilizing on Crane Street, which is not recognized as a public way in town, that we're doing the right thing.
I would say that what the statute doesn't really differentiate is public and private way access. It's more so, say if Crane Street on paper looks like this, but if you instead of driving down it and seeing a street sign in a roadway, it's trees. So it's more so a roadway that was never built to what it was supposed to be for access. From all indications of assessors' maps and
Well, that's what you said is my point. Like, is it adequate access?
119 Pleasant Street uses it for access every day.
I would say
If you go to Street View, you'll
That's
see
But
that
I mean,
they drive in there and that's where their access is.
We could drive
Even
by it.
even then too, Mr. Chair, the frontage could be utilized on Crane Street, but they could still utilize the frontage on Pleasant Street for a driveway. And it also doesn't prevent the applicant from paving said roadway if they have the private property rights to do so.
Did we reach out to DPW at all about, Mr. Tansey, do you have any knowledge of Crane Street?
Very little. I've known in the past on, I think on private roads, some boards have made the applicant improve a road. This particular road was it was a dirt road. It might have been a trail. It was a long time ago, and it only had frontage on one road. They made the applicant make roadway improvements so that it would have adequate access, and then they they endorsed the plan. But that, I mean, that's not really a statute. That was what another board had done in the past.
I mean, I agree it meets the law as long as you can use Crane Street as,
If it makes you feel better, Mr. Chair, the Google car risked its life down Crane Street.
And you can see the driveway on the left that goes to the neighboring property right there.
Yeah. Usually, my experience is if the road is being used by another, serviced by another house or houses, then it has adequate access to be utilized as a road. The case that I was referring to earlier, I think that was the only house that was being serviced by that, because they only made improvements up to the full length of the lot's frontage. But if people are passing and repassing on this road every day to get to their houses, then it's generally considered capable of being used to pass and repass to get to any lot on that road.
all right. Any other board questions or comments? Not
Like-
here.
I believe Michael McDonald did come to the meeting, Pat.
I mean, I just would rather get, I don't know if we can get a legal opinion from our town attorney or not, but I know these like private roads, it gets tricky, paper roads, private roads. I just want to make sure we make the right decision and don't open up a can of worms because there are a bunch of other lots there with 75 feet of frontage on the street. And if that road isn't improved, I mean, that road, I don't think has adequate access or safe access. That road needs to be improved.
It has safe access to both Pleasant and Crane Street. I really don't see where access is an issue. And we're only talking about adding land to a lot that already has grandfathered status. We're not talking about anything related to Crane and Pleasant. We're really
But
just
that-
adding
I
5,000
guess
square feet of land to it.
I guess I'd agree with you if the frontage on Crane Street can be utilized, right? But if it can't be
Which
utilized,
it can.
If someone wanted to build without that 5,000 square feet, that lot is a legal lot. It may have problems with some of the setbacks and making something work that is practical, but it has status as a grandfathered lot.
so Mr. O'Brien, you keep saying that it does have adequate frontage. What if it is a private road? Do we know ownership of that road, maintenance of that road? I mean,
I don't know ownership or maintenance of the road. I'm assuming there would have to be a discussion regarding who would be able to upgrade the roadway, being this would be a new property owner. However, with the current, I guess the question is, does the current property owner have access and rights to it because they own the property now. So I would assume that they would have something in their deed that, or rights to the roadway, being that they already have technically frontage on Crane Street.
The
Now,
those two lots were created from a subdivision, which is what created Crane Street. So, I mean,
So that, I
when it
guess,
was conveyed to
I
them
guess,
from Bridgewater
I
Savings Bank, they would
that
have went with it.
Mr. Sobey, if you can go back to that original plan you showed us, right?
Yep.
That shows Crane Street, which is not on your plan as a private. Well, there was another plan that showed Crane Street private. Where did it show? Where did I see Crane Street was private?
Hmm. That one,
No.
that one.
Yeah, right. So does that lot 19 have rights to Crane Street?
Yes.
How do we know that's not part of the school property or the town property?
You just saw the subdivision plan that created the lots. That's what created Crane Street, and that's what created the lots.
Right, but you said earlier that lot 19 got its frontage on Pleasant Street. It required 60 feet at the time.
It had frontage on both. On the way that was created, Crane Street was created at the same time Lot 19 was created. So it had frontage on both. That subdivision plan we showed you was the one that which created the roadway and created all those lots. Some of those lots got absorbed into multiple lots together. Some of them stayed just the way they were. And like I say, the house that's on the house there that's on this is assessors here. So the one that's on 55, I guess it is, that gets its access totally from Crane Street. And I'm willing to bet you go back and look at the school property, it utilized Crane Street too. They had tennis courts that they used to access from there too,
Yes.
in the corner, right behind that house.
All right, so the town of Bridgewater, right? Do they own that piece across the street? I don't think so. Well,
Do they own the piece across there?
right, it says
I don't know why that says Bridgewater in the middle there. I think it's supposed to have Bridgewater.
There's Bridgewater Middle School.
No, I'm talking about the one that's further over. It says
Oh,
Bridgewater right there.
town label. It's just a town label. I'm sorry. GIS did weird things. It's just so you know you're in the town of Bridgewater.
I mean, I'm fine with it if I would just after finding out tonight that Crane Street is not an improved way and it's a private way. I have concerns about the frontage on that street. If we could get that cleared up, I'd feel better. But they get a legal opinion.
If it was a paper street or it was wetlands or something that was not passable, I could see your concern. But A&R plans have nothing to do with whether or not it's the best paved roadway. It can be gravel and it can still be adequate as long as you can pass and repass, and it's adequate to do so. It's fine for an A&R plan. Plenty of ones that we've submitted to other towns. I don't know, Bridgewater. Yeah, I can't think of one in Bridgewater. I know some in Middleborough and elsewhere where it could be a gravel driveway, gravel roadway, and they've said it was adequate for frontage for lots because you can pass it. Doesn't mean that it meets subdivision standards of today.
yeah, we do acknowledge that we probably have to do something within our zoning to reflect these changes from the August 2024 act that the governor signed, where it would have to be a little bit abundantly clear. Some communities have language about pre-existing lots of a certain size. So right now we're kind of just going based on the Mass General Law in terms of the language. But there's also the consideration that, Lot 80A still has to conform to the district. But we're just kind of in this conundrum where, you know, um, the square footage and the utilization of these older lots that were previously merged together and have been merged since, I don't know, this is, you would probably say 30, 40, 50 plus years now are allowed to be separated based on this new act. As we've seen this A&R before us, we did properly deny it initially due to some of the issues previously, because one, this didn't exist, um, and two, the second time the applicant did withdraw the application because I think there was discussion that the lot that would be created, I think similar to lot 80B, we would have required it to be labeled not a buildable lot. So since this new law kind of came into place, it would allow for a property to be solely built on lot 19. It would be a very crammed in house with, as the law states, and I provided to the board, there's limitations on square footage, there's limitations on side setbacks, and limitations, oddly enough, on short-term rentals and amount of bedrooms. So, we do feel this is kind of new and unideal, but it does meet the requirements, one from frontage standpoint and access, but also based on consideration of this new Mass General law that, other issues may pop up from an A&R standpoint that would include additional properties in Bridgewater. So something that we have to get on the record and on the books. But this is kind of our first.
And like I said, I'm fine with it as long I would just like proof that we can utilize Crane Street, which is not a public way, which is not an improved way for frontage.
Well, if do you want legal opinion? Do you want town staff professional opinion?
I'd prefer a legal opinion
Well,
myself, but it's
we have
not
other
clean,
board members.
it's not clean cut. It's just, and I didn't pick that up until I saw Crane Street as private tonight when I was looking at it. And that concern, and I do recall, like, and it could be hearsay, but I thought that the reason Crane Street wasn't improved was there was some debate between the town and the school district as to who owned Crane Street. And I had heard, and I don't know if it's true, that it's the school district's responsibility.
Well, because it's a private way, the school district in the areas that they front on it own to the middle of it, and that they have responsibility like everyone else along it to maintain the right of way, or whoever holds the fee in the road. So maybe the school adopted or took over a fee in the road when they took that land. I don't know. But it doesn't, it's kind of a moot point here because we're not asking you to do anything as it relates to this property on Crane and Pleasant. All we're saying is we're trying to add 5,000 square feet to it. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make the lot bigger than what is legal based on the statute. That's all we're
But
doing.
just that red line that you just drew, that red line does not exist now, correct?
That's the one we're asking to be the line.
So where is the line you're removing on the other side?
It's right at the edge of the house going straight back. The one that we showed you on the other plan. That we're removing that line between 1 and 18.
And all right, that's just one of the confusing things because you have the old lot line on one side, but not on the other.
No, because it's not, well, because it doesn't exist now because it became one and the same, as Steve said. 18 had to be absorbed into lot 1 in order to handle that porch and the setbacks to that porch and to meet the minimum requirements for the district that was created as 18.5.
So
That's the reason why.
So basically, as it stands today, it's only 2 lots, not 3.
Correct.
Now it's only going to be 2 lots.
No, but existing today.
It's 2 lots now.
That's what I'm
And all
saying.
we're doing is transferring land from the larger lot to the smaller lot in order to get a better balance. But we're not taking that larger one and the land we're taking from it. we're still maintaining the minimum required for that district.
So Pat, lot 18 does not exist anymore. It's lot 1 and lot 19.
That's correct.
Correct, but if you see how lot, I get it. I mean, I just want to make sure that Crane Street can be utilized as frontage. I mean, that's my main concern. Because if that can be utilized, then it does meet the
That
requirement.
determination has already been made, Pat,
By who?
by the statute and by the building department and town attorney. That's already been determined. All
The
we're
town-
doing is
the
adding
town-
parcel A to it.
The town attorney weighed in on Crane Street and whether it could be used for frontage?
I'm not going to speak for Steve. Steve can answer that, however.
No, I mean, basically, the attorney only, I had the discussion with the attorney with the third lot being a grandfather lot, not even adding land to that lot. It's just, is the third lot based under the governor's new regulations, does that meet the requirements of a lot? And I, as the building inspector, with Crane Street being there and being partially paved and not looking like a driveway to the school and having, like Larry said, a house on it already down the other end, I don't know how it's not a, private or public. It is a street. And if you have a house that accesses a street, then you have the right to use it. It's not a driveway. Like I think I kind of use the scenario that on the high school, the street that comes off of North Street that goes to the high school, that's a driveway. That's not a street. That's a driveway that goes to the high school. This is a street. This is a legitimate street. But no, just to get back, the town attorney did not weigh in on the frontage on Crane Street.
And Pat, to your discussion about private ways versus public ways, Scotland Boulevard is an industrial park. It's a private way.
No,
All those lots that were created off of it are created off a private way.
The deed in front of you is the deed for 55 Crane, which gives them the right to use Crane Street in common with others lawfully entitled for purposes that public
There you
highways
go.
are commonly used in said Bridgewater.
which one is 55?
55 is this fella right here, fully frontage on Crane Street. I didn't get a chance to look at the rest. I'm still digging.
But does this parcel have that same right?
It's saying all of Crane Street. So all of Crane Street has that. And let's
To
see.
be used in common with all the other owners of land along Crane Street. Very clearly that for all purposes that public highways are commonly used in said Bridgewater. That kind of sets the stage for what Crane Street was.
Well, it says with others lawfully entitled to. I just want to make sure that this parcel is lawfully entitled to. I agree with what it says.
I guess all I'm saying to you, Pat, with all due respect, is we're not talking about Crane Street or Pleasant Street. All we're talking about is parcel A, adding it to 19. If there's an issue with Crane Street and Pleasant Street and the access and the legal right to go into it, that's really over with Steve Solari at that point.
So Steve, before any building permit is issued, you'll confirm that Crane Street can be used as their frontage before you deem it a buildable lot?
Yeah, I mean, I could reach out to the town attorney.
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
fine
this
with
lot
that.
is still gonna, I mean, even though they're enlarging this lot, if they do the new governor's regulations, the house that's allowed on this property is I think it's 1800, 1805.
1850.
And it'll never go any bigger than that. Because then if it did, they'd have to appeal me because I wouldn't even let that go to get a variance. That would be an appeal of the building inspector. 18.5 is all it's ever going to be there, which is, believe it or not, an 18.5 is a pretty good sized house. It's not a little house.
And
that's under the governor's.
and this has the language on it that we're not
Endorsing
Yeah.
it for zoning purposes.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that language is on
You
all
look at our
plans.
signature right there, we have a note above the signature.
Yeah, I just want to make
Remember, it's
sure.
an endorsement, not an approval.
All right. Any other board questions or comments or?
I mean, I think I'm comfortable with it within the scope of an A&R and what that entails. I think, it meets the requirements to at least proceed from this stage. What comes next, might be more complicated, but
Yeah, I know we can't condition an A&R, but I mean, it's going to be Mr. Solari to determine that the frontage on Crane Street, they have the rights to use that for frontage purposes. So that's all I want to make sure.
I think
Yeah,
the
and I mean,
note-
obviously
I
they'll
think the
sort
note
that out.
speaks to it. So you're endorsing under that note, and the note clearly says that it's not an admission to anything other than what you're doing.
All right. So, Mr. Solari, you're comfortable with that? You'll research it and make sure that
No, I mean, when the time comes, if an application is put in to the planning board, I mean, to me, I will reach out to the town attorney, and I'll reach out to the town. I'll reach out to the assessor's office. I'll reach out to all departments that can give me information on the street.
Okay.
Just in all my years of being a building inspector and working in multiple towns and dealing with legality on a lot of these. I know Larry had mentioned paper streets, but I can't tell you how many times a paper street is still considered frontage on a street that we in past towns I've dealt with. So
Well,
you almost had this same situation, if you remember, on the property that Mr. Iafrades did off of Colonial Post. Colonial Post ended, and Mr. Iafrades' house was farther back. They had to basically put a not really a street upgrade, but more of a driveway upgrade to get to that house. If you remember,
that's correct.
Yeah,
You're correct.
Well,
Yes.
and that's
That was
my
an
point.
existing lot configuration, though.
yeah.
That's my point here. I mean, if we're going to start to develop Crane Street, is put houses on Crane Street, that road needs to be improved and how. But I guess we really, if we determine there isn't adequate access, then it can be improved. If we determine there is adequate access, it can't be improved. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. I mean, if I reach out to the town attorney and he says that we do not have access, then that's a problem.
All right. Any other board questions or comments? Is there a motion on this at all? Or?
I'll make a motion to endorse.
It's a motion to endorse by Mr. Praddy. Do you have a second?
Second.
By Mr. Geller. Any discussion? I'll just say, for the record, I'll vote to endorse it, but I'm not positive that the frontage to create a grandfathered lot can be utilized on Crane Street, and I don't believe Crane Street has adequate access the way it's constructed now. So I mean, that's a concern, for a building permit going forward. But if all we're doing is adding
Right.
some land to this existing parcel, and then Mr. Solari is going to work out the rest of it, I'm okay with that. But I just want that on the record. Anybody else? All right, I'll take the roll call. So who is Mr. Costa with us yet or no?
I don't believe he is. He sent an email. I don't think he'll be making it.
Okay,
No, he's
so,
not going to be able to make it. No.
all right, so I'll take the roll. Mr. Fabrowski,
Yes.
Mr. Geller,
Yes.
Mr. McDonald,
yes.
Mr. Praddy.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm a yes. Thank you.
And I'll make sure your comments are on the record, Mr. Chair, whether
Thank you.
probably through the minutes.
Well, I mean, the main thing is we're not Mr. Solari is going to determine whether it's a buildable lot or not.
Right.
Yeah, and I address also additional concerns to Mr. Silva too, in terms of I know that we don't have jurisdiction over it, but I do have concerns in terms of construction just based on topography and elevations for anything built there, just in concerns of runoff. So I did make that known to Mr. Solari and Mr. Silva.
Okay. All right. Hold on one second. My mother-in-law is looking for my kids. Apparently, I forgot to drop them off. Hold on. Mr. McDonald, do you want to take over for?
Yeah, I got you, Pat.
I just need
You
to
want
make a-
Rebecca to go pick up the kids? Rebecca, can you pick them up?
I'll be
They need car seats, I'm out.
either Shane or Mr. McDonald. You can open up the next one and I'll be right
Yeah,
back.
Yeah.
I'll lead you along, Mr. McDonald, because we do have some items that did request continuances prior to 593 Plymouth Street. So
Perfect.
what I'll probably do is I'll request if any planning board members would like to take items 4 out of order for the site plan review public hearings continued.
So moved.
Do we have a second? Am I allowed to second? I don't know.
No, you're chairing right now.
I'll second.
All
All right,
right.
perfect. Sorry, I don't have my handy dandy roll call thing. Mr. Geller,
Yes.
Mr. Pratty,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. I believe
Yeah,
that's
and
all of us
also
that's
and
on.
also Chris Fabrowski.
Oh, so, I apologize, Mr. Fabrowski.
That's fine. Yes.
All right, so we'll be taking first up is Zero Lakeshore Center. So we're still working with them, but they did request regarding hearing back from the water impact study. Until that time, the applicant has requested a continuance to our February 4th, 2026 meeting. So I guess we're just looking to have a motion to allow for a continuance to that February 4th meeting.
So moved.
By Mr. Pratty, do we have a second?
Second.
By Mr. Geller, any discussion? Mr. Pratty,
Yes.
Mr. Geller,
Yes.
sorry, Mr. Fabrowski,
Yes.
and I'm a yes.
And Pat's back too. Pat, we're voting to accept the continuance for Zero Lakeshore to the February 4th meeting.
All right, good. I'm back. I'm good.
Thank
All
you.
right, are you yes on that, Pat?
Yeah, I'm a yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry about that, guys.
that's okay. And then
Always-
Pat, you want to do? We took it
Yeah.
out of order, but
Oh, yeah, it's 1010 Elm Street.
yeah.
So the next item is 1010 Elm Street, map 30, lot 20, site plan review 10.8 for the construction of a 27,000 square foot commercial building with parking and other improvements. This is continued from December 3rd, 2025.
Yep.
And we have a continuation request that you emailed over today, Shane.
Yeah, they're still waiting on the owner to do the replication work that they're supposed to do. So it's tough to move forward with the site plan review when you're not, working on the replication and violation work first. So
No,
yeah,
and they
they're pushing
want-
off to the 4th.
February 4th.
Yep.
Okay, so do we have a motion to continue that to February 4th?
So moved.
By Mr. Gallo, do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Pratty? Okay, so I'll take the roll. Mr. Fabrowski,
Yes.
Mr. Pratty,
Yes.
Mr. Geller,
Yes.
Mr. McDonald,
Yes.
and I'm a yes, okay. All right, so we're gonna go back up to item 3. This is a definitive subdivision plan, public hearing continuation for 593 Plymouth Street, Barty Investment Group LLC. This proposed subdivision entitled Revolution Road with 6 buildable lots and 2 drainage lots on 5.9 acres of land. As per the Bridgewater subdivision rules and regulations, this is continued from December 17th. So I know we did get updated plans Friday. We get some stuff from Mr. O'Brien yesterday. Mr. Tanzi, did you complete your we don't have a final review from you yet on this, correct?
Correct. I didn't get a chance to review it. I did witness a test pit in the area in question regarding the stormwater chambers. That test pit checked out fine. They had substantial separation from the groundwater. but I'm in the process of getting Winter Streets procurement out, and I did not have the opportunity to review that for this meeting.
Okay. Mr. Silver, to anybody from your office, do you guys have anything new to add, or do you want to go over anything that you submitted a new plan set on Friday?
Yeah, well, just want to clarify that the plans that you had before you were on the cusp of possibly taking a vote at the last meeting. The changes were in response to a couple of the comments that had been raised at that meeting. So on those plans, for example, we eliminated that retaining wall issue that was within the right of way. That's no longer there. The test pit was to resolve the last remaining comment that Greg had indicated about that initial section of roadway and the drainage for it. And then we updated also the waiver letter in order to put together some of the items that had been presented to you in different ways, but in particular as they related to the desire to have the 6 duplexes, which is one more than the statute says or the regulation says for the dead-end streets, and the justification for where we think that it makes sense to grant the waiver. It's in the public good. And what I wanted to emphasize is that if I ask that you review that and really understand that in order to make this project really kind of cohesive, it makes a lot more sense to have 12 units that are 6 duplex units, which have, a common theme to them, as opposed to 5 duplex units, 1 single family, and an ADU. You still get the same number of 12. So you're not changing the density, you're just changing how this is going to turn out in terms of its cohesiveness. And I'll also point out to you that
just a quick question.
When you consider the fact that when you grant the waiver, when you do grant a waiver, that that gives you a little bit more control over it too. So let's just say, for example, in the future that ADUs are allowed on a duplex lot, then you could be more or less taking control of the situation by granting the waiver now and having that a condition that does not allow for it to grow in that direction. That's all. But we just think that the project holds together better as 12, 6 duplex units and not having to have that one be a single family with an ADU. It just kind of disrupts the program that we're trying to do here. That's all. I asked that you kind of look at that when you're deliberating that.
Can you guys hear me or can you not hear me?
We can hear you.
So just a couple of questions. So the road profile, shows. So is it 26 feet of pavement wide?
Yes, it is. It does meet the 26-foot pavement wide, which has that. I don't want to judge it. I want to say the bike lane in it. Okay. I'm just going to say it does have it. It meets the requirement. And there was some question that was about driveway width, and driveway width would be limited not to exceed the 18 feet that's allowed.
Well, and I mentioned this to Shane today because we updated zoning to go to 24 feet, but we never updated the rules and regs. So the standard for driveways in zoning is 24 feet now. So I don't know what we use for that. Is it zoning or is it zoning or is it rules and regs? That's a question I don't know.
Oh,
I would, to be honest, I would say we would probably look at rules and regulations on that, Pat, because zoning also allows for multiple cuts, whereas subdivision rules and regulations make it abundantly clear that we can only allow for 1 cut. I think there would be a rare.
You have a number of things that it should be in one or the other, and
I would say that the true conflict wouldn't necessarily be with residential here. I think the subdivision regs kind of usurp that. I think what would become problematic, but it would be a rare occurrence probably nowadays, is if someone tried to do a commercial or an industrial subdivision. But I think to your point, Pat, I think it's something that we need to correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, did you update the landscape plan showing the location of all the trees?
Landscape shows that we have the detail for the trees, and we show that they're 40 foot on center. So we show the requirements meeting
And that's on both sides.
regulation.
I see the detail. You know, the detail didn't make sense to me because it says when to do these 3 trees or whatever else is in the list. So are you doing those? How, the landscape plan, I guess, is pretty fluid still because when I read it earlier, it said we're going to do these 3 types of trees or whatever else is in the list. Is your intent to do those 3 types of trees?
It says, "Is the street tree shall be red maple, pin oak, and flowering cherry. Substituted trees from those specified may be from the approved list." So we're just looking to stay consistent with the list, and those are the ones that our choices are.
Okay. So the waiver request, right? So I guess where I'm confused, and I'm just looking at this today. So if you do 5 duplex lots on a street and you didn't get the waiver, you couldn't do the single family because the way the road layout is, Shane, right? It's based on lots, not on units, where the road profile is based on. So if it's 5 duplex lots, that would be it. So if you wanted to do 5 duplex lots in a single family lot, that would also require a waiver, correct?
Regarding roadway layout,
No, no, regarding dead end streets and lots.
No,
I
it says
think
11 units.
it's 11 or less you can do.
It's not 11 units. It says 5 duplex lots or 11 single family lots.
So it would be 5 duplex lots
Five
with a
times
single
2,
family
10,
lot,
and then 1 would be 11.
But where does it say 11 units?
with the 11 single families.
Correct.
I know you're saying Mr. Chair, but I would say that when one says 11 and the other says 5 duplex lots, I think that
Well, it says 5 duplex lots. You could one, so you'd have to have a waiver even if we did 6 lots, correct?
sure, I think still look for a waiver regardless of where the board's leaning on that one, just to clean it up. I don't think there was ever consideration, I guess, when in our regs for 5 duplexes in a single. Um, but yeah, I think that waiver would still be adequate regardless of what the board's looking to kind of proceed with.
Right, because on a dead end street, it says you can have 5 duplex lots or 11 single family lots, correct?
Sure.
So anything more than 5 duplex lots would require a waiver, correct?
Yes.
Essentially, yes, based on how it reads.
And I'm struggling with this because I get it and I understand you want to maximize profit and everything else and you want to make it economical to build, but just looking at the concept here on the plan of what we're trying to do here is trying to maximize open space, trying to be sustainable, all this other stuff. By adding that extra lot, right? And going over the 11 units, we create a lot more impervious surface because the road has to be about 125 feet longer, most likely. It has to be 4 feet wider. And so that's less community space, that's less open space, it's more impervious areas. So I guess where I'm conflicted is it kind of goes against the grain of the sustainable idea where we're trying to preserve everything, but at the same time we're trying to maximize everything. So I just looking at that, I'm saying to myself, all right, if we followed the regulations that didn't grant the waiver, you would have 10 units, you'd have less pavement, you'd have more open space, you'd have a shorter road. All things that kind of play into the intent of this development, right?
Would you not have 11 units? Why would you not have 11 units?
We still need a waiver for 11 units.
I think the way that it reads, Larry, is that it doesn't
It doesn't say anywhere 11
differentiate.
units.
It doesn't differentiate. It
It says our rules and regs say 5 duplex lots or 11 single family lots. So if you have 5 duplexes, you max that site out. It doesn't mean you can then add a single family, which at the last meeting, I was hung up on that too until I reread the rules and regs. So I guess I'm just trying to figure out with infrastructure issues in town, and I know it's going to be well and septic until things are improved, but with school issues in town, with more impervious area, with a longer road, less open space. I guess I'm looking for, it says that we can grant the waiver when it's in the public good. So with those things in mind, Larry, how do you feel that this is in the public good to grant this?
Well, I've outlined it in the waiver request, and I think that it's wrong to try to make it so that you eliminate a lot there. That if these were all single family and you said 11 single family could be on a street, on a dead end street, that was going to be a much longer street. We could be approaching 1,500 feet, and that's allowed. In this particular case, because of past action by the planning board, where, as I indicated you before, and you had disagreement with me, but the subdivision of record for Edge Hill Drive has a 40-foot right of way coming to this property. Right or wrong, that's what it has. By an incorrect action of a Form A, an approval not required plan, they eliminated that 40-foot connector. You can say all day that nobody had control over that 40-foot, but that 40-foot existed as a condition of the approval of Edge Hill. It was eliminated without the right process, and that's a past board. It's a past mistake. You shouldn't have done it that way. That's history. But what I'm saying is, this project should be
but where I
because
guess
we were prepared to connect to it.
yeah, but I guess my question is, did Mr. Dahlen never had rights to that 40-foot right away?
He didn't have it, but the planning board in approving Edge Hill was hopeful that it would become a connecting road out to that property. That's how they voted. That's what they did. They voted it that way.
Yes, and it was also
So I'm
just,
not
I
saying
wanted
that that's the primary reason that you should grant this waiver, but I don't see that it's a burden on anyone here or on the town to grant that waiver for that 6th duplex and to go to 12 units when you could have a 1,500 foot cul-de-sac, which is allowed for single family. That's a much longer road.
You can't have 1,500 square feet here. You don't have any land left. I mean,
No, but I'm just saying is that there is nothing that the 6th duplex generates here that would be a problem for the dead end street. There is nothing that, and I argue with you all day long that 5 duplexes in one single family is definitely allowed. I don't think I don't even think that's a waiver.
And also, if I could just jump in here
Yeah,
for
go ahead,
a second, Mr. Driscoll. I'm sorry. Larry, thank you so much for all this. And Mr. Driscoll, just to kind of address your comment on the public good when it comes to this project. I mean, as Larry mentioned, on the technicality standpoint, reasons why. And I mean, honestly, by not having that 6 lot, number one of the main reasons why we are requesting so many is in order to make up for the infrastructure costs. I really don't want to create multi-million-dollar condos and be every other developer. That's not what this project is about. This project is about intentionality. It's about community. It's about reactivating the farm that's on site. And the more units that we have there in a very tasteful way is exactly what we'd like to do. That's why I was pushing with Larry. Initially, we thought we had that exit. And actually, the initial plans showcase that we have that exit because it was portrayed to me by the previous owner. And I love him. He was my professor in college. And he may not have known that those weren't his rights, but in his mind, he did tell me, Pam, I do have that right of way there. So that's what was showcased to me. And on our initial plan that Larry did, it actually showed that exit and all of it was as of right. Because what I had said to Larry when I first jumped into this project, I said, Larry, I want to do this as of right. I don't want to push on density. This is not about numbers. It's about community. It's about intentionality. And because whatever I put here this infrastructure has got to support it. Because again, we want to have our own green energy system on site that creates green energy for each and every single one of the townhouses, our own food systems on site. Now that we're getting into private wells and private septics, yes, there is a monetary factor when it comes to that. You know, digging all of that is not a cheap thing. You know, we want to be as less of a burden to the public and to the town as possible, but we also want to add as much value to the community as possible. And I understand about the schools and all of that, and I can completely respect that. But there will be a mix of individuals that will purchase these units. These are not going to be each townhouse being 3 or 4,000 square foot units. These are going to be moderate, about 2,000 to 2,500 square feet. So it's not like they're going to be these massive kind of like luxurious type of townhouses. They're going to be beautiful. They're going to be gorgeous, but they're not going to be these like stately, like, you know, massive types of townhouses. They're going to be focused mostly on sustainability and community, right? And so what I'm envisioning is going to be a lot of different kind of mixes of who's going to come in as part of the townhouses as well. So that's just something I wanted to throw in for you, is we really want to make this a process of co-creation with you where community is intact. But the most important thing here to realize is we're doing everything we can on our end to make this project feasible and to try to make it as attainable as we can on the market. We don't want to be those people that create these like unreachable, unattainable lifestyles, you know, which will have developers have to create because they're limited on what they can do. So I'm just asking for the opportunity to co-create with you. We still have to do special permits with you on every single lot. So if there's any way that we can work with you on this, that would be wonderful. But again, unfortunately, that was one of the things that kind of came up, that whole 6 lot situation, because of something that was completely out of our control. So I just wanted to state all that for the record. And thank you so much for this opportunity to co-create with you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, I know we're going to continue this to the next meeting and we'll deliberate then, but we can talk about it some more while we have the public hearing open and just other board feedback.
You know what, I would just like to say that are you hearing me?
Yeah.
Yep. So in the direction of open space that we've talked about, in the rules right now will apply that, you know, 11 maximum units. It will be as special as it is to have 5 duplex lots having 10 units. There's no hardship. The infrastructure in town is an issue. I think that your whole theme and what you're doing with your subdivision is about creating open space. So in my opinion, I hate to say it, but the right of way and whatnot is whatever happened in the history that isn't really applying here. You know, I think that, you know, having support from the board to have 5 special permits approved is already, you know, a push under what we're going through. So I'm wondering if you would have any, you know, if you'd be willing to maybe, you know, reduce to the 5 lots, you know, have the support of the board for 5 duplex units, you know, and there will be special permits. You know, would you be willing to do that?
So Chris, I will jump in here for a sec. If we do take out one of the lots, it would be the one in the back, and nobody's really seeing any of that open space. With all due respect, Larry,
but it still can be used as open space for the owners of that subdivision. I mean, and quite frankly, in my opinion, I would have loved to seen 5 single unit homes instead of duplexes. You're pushing, you know, quite a bit of units in a small space as it is. So, you know, without the 6 would, you know, it has to be a waiver. There has to be a hardship that, you know, there's really nothing for us to go on to approve a 6th lot. So again, you know what I mean, to, you know, being able to get 10 units out of that, you know, plus the house and the ADU that you have, you know, seems like a pretty strong, you know, project for what the piece of land you have there.
Completely understand that. And what I would say on the hardship side is really the infrastructure costs that are coming in with doing the sustainable development.
I understand that, but that happens with every single contractor that does a project. So those things, unfortunately, don't really apply to what, you know, the rules are saying, that basically it's 11 units, you know, 10. And again, you're still going to have to come to us for the 5 special permits to have duplexes. Again, you got to remember, we have a pushback because our infrastructure in town is up against it. And I understand what you've done with the wells and the septic, But again, still getting 10 more additional units out of that property is still a pretty strong project.
But Chris, when you say that, not only is she doing the wells and she's doing the septics, she still has to bring the water line down the street. She
I
has
know.
to put the hydrants on the street. She's still got the cost of that tie-in to put that water line in and to bring it into this project. She still has that.
I understand that, but it's still 10 units, Larry, on a pretty small piece, and there's other waivers here involved as well. Again, I'm trying to support it, and I'm trying to look for a way to be positive, but again, I feel like it's a little bit of a push, for that sixth, lot, to be honest. It's just my opinion.
It's every single lot that's in there meets the minimum requirements for a duplex lot in that district.
No,
It's not like we're redefining what a duplex lot is. We're meeting the requirements for frontage and area for each one of those lots.
Well, but there is a rule of 11 units. I got to tell you, like at our last meeting, we made some adjustments of a 200-foot road, or release. I mean, there is rules on the books that, to a degree. Again, I'm trying to be open and helpful, but I'm also, trying to be reasonable about, what we're putting in.
And the language is never 11 units. There's no language that says 11 units. The language, and I went back after the last meeting and looked, the road profile and the road construction and the road dimensions are based on units. Cul-de-sacs are based on lots. It says 5 duplex lots. It says 11 single-family lots. So this unit thing is being confused with road dimensions, road layouts. And
Mr. Chair, the only thing I think I would say that our definition of a cul-de-sac does refer to it as 11 units, not lots. But that just adds to the confusion of it too, because what we're saying is our dead-end streets, our dead-end streets require this, whereas our cul-de-sac definition refers to that. I still would say,
but if you look at the dead-end street in the rules and regs section,
it's clear. Yeah. I'm just saying it does say in the subdivision regulations, cul-de-sac refers to units, not lots.
And just by that alone, by 11 units, if you want to limit it to 11 units, I'm telling you, 11 units, it would just going to be an ADU on that 11th unit.
Right, but it would still require the same waiver based on what Pat's saying.
Well, I guess which one would, I mean, I don't know.
Why would that, excuse me a second, for clarification though, Shane.
Yep.
If you're saying that the cul-de-sac allows 11 units.
The definition of a cul-de-sac refers to 11 units. However, we have more language within dead-end streets in terms of how it specifies to duplex lots in 11 single families.
Right.
So
the cul-de-sac definition, I says not serving more than 11 units, which makes sense because you could have 11 single families or 5 duplexes. And it says right in there, it says 5 duplex lots or 11 single family units. So when you have a definition of a cul-de-sac, of course that's to say not to serve more than 11 units because that's the maximum allowed if you do single family units.
But having said that, Pat, 11 units, however you divide it, if it's 5 duplexes and 1 single family, it's still 11 units.
It says a dead-end street can't serve more than 5 duplex lots or 11 single families. So a dead-end street can service up to 11 units if they're single families.
Mm-hmm.
So 11 units is 5 duplexes and 1 single family.
I would say regardless that
I disagree.
Regardless, the applicant is requesting a waiver pertaining to that. The board, we're having this discussion to decide if we feel that waiver is appropriate, because if the board accepts the waiver, then you can proceed. If they deny it, then different direction.
A cul-de-sac can't serve more than 11 units. I agree with that. I agree with the definition.
Okay.
But if you a dead-end street, if you do duplexes, you're limited to 10. If you do single families, you're limited to 11. So
I think it's a contradiction there that you can't really defend. 11 units is 11 units. So if you're saying you don't want to have the 6 duplex, then which I believe that my client's entitled to is 5 duplexes and 1 single family, which there'll be an ADU on.
I think you need a waiver for the 6 lots though. If you do 5
I do
duplexes.
not. I do not believe it does not say you can't have more than 6 lots on a dead end street. You just told me it's 11 units. And 5 times 2 is 10 plus 1's 11. You're just defining it yourself in a certain way. 11 units is how it's defined.
It
It's
says,
it-
a dead end street, Larry. If you look up the dead end street and it
Yeah.
says you can have 5 duplex lots or
We have
11
that.
single family lots.
We have 5 duplex lots. We can't have more than that on a dead end street. But we can also have 11 units on a dead end street. Hence, we can have a single family if you don't want to give us the 6 duplex.
Right, but
That's really what your rules say.
Well,
I don't think it's the best way to go,
Well,
but if that's the way we need to go, I believe that we have
that's fine.
we have a right to have 11 units.
All right, I disagree, but that's fine. Anybody else?
Well, I think if you need an opinion on that, you're going to need to get an opinion.
Okay, thank you. Anybody
guess-
else?
Yeah, I
Anybody?
guess I'll just say, I mean, frankly, I'm in favor of the project. I'm in favor of the waiver. I don't think I think it's a wonderful community-oriented project. I really don't know, why we're kind of wringing our hands about, one extra. Well, depending on your reading of the language, 1 or 2 extra units when we just put in a couple hundred across from Roach Brothers. The infrastructure impact we're talking about here is completely negligible, especially considering that they're doing wells and all that kind of thing. So, I mean, I really am not seeing the issue personally. But that's just my opinion.
Anyone else on the planning board? I just think I'm still hung up on the public good. It needs to be in the public good. And I think that if there was something for the public and the public good, then we could consider it. Everything I see benefits this project, not the public good. And I'm trying to better understand that. That's all.
Yeah, that's completely reasonable. I mean, I've used the same line of logic myself on several projects. I guess I'm just looking at it in its totality and thinking like, wow, this is a great project. This is probably one of the best things that could possibly go in here. So I think approving what I think is probably the best project for the area is in the public good. So I guess that's kind of how I'm squaring that circle. Because I don't see what else you could do that would really be too much better. You've got practically a self-running community that's going to pop up using minimal resources.
But again, none of that's before us right now.
Mr. Driscoll, if I may.
Sure.
When it comes to the public good of this project, and I'm not sure if we're seeing a lot of this grading and everything that is all the technicalities, but that barn that you all saw when you came on site, that is going to be used for the community and as a clubhouse for events, for book clubs, for all of that. And as I may have mentioned when we were walking through the site, especially in the front, when we finish the renovations of the barn and the house, essentially what we're reactivating there is White Heather Farm, which has been a farm there for hundreds of years. There's only been 3 owners before me that have owned this property since the 1800s, and it used to be an apple orchard. And so I'm bringing on-site food systems that will be open to the community so that we can serve the community. Another thing is I want to bring in farmers and all local businesses, whatever I can, into that barn so that we can all co-create and do some sort of farm stand and all of that. So when you mention community, that's the exact reason why I'm creating this type of project. The 3 pillars are the sustainability, the green energy infrastructure, as well as the community piece. And that is the most critical part of all of this. And that's one of the things that I mentioned in my initial presentation on this project is that this isn't going to be cookie cutter. This is going to be built very intentionally. And I want to co-create with the community around us in order to create something beautiful. So I know that you're seeing the 6 lots, but also remember that there's that lot that's existing right now that's going to be reactivated. And the whole idea and goal of that is to create something beautiful there so that everyone can work together. It's not just, okay, there's going to be these townhouses and that's it. I may have mentioned to you, I'm holding on to that property forever. And I want to create it to be a place where the community feels open, feels welcome, and also create all these different opportunities where they have fresh greens, microgreens, and all of that. So I would argue, and then of course, there's this whole issue with the infrastructure, which is really tricky on my part. in terms of from a monetary standpoint, because I want to create the best systems that we can back there. But there's cost efficiencies that we've got to work out as well. And also at the same time, not trying to make these like multi-million-dollar condos, right? So that's the whole thing that I'm balancing on my end. And I hope that you understand from when it comes from the public good side, why this is important to have these considered in, because the more community that we can create there, the better. So I just wanted to make sure that you understood that part, because I know we've been talking a lot about
No,
technicality.
and
I wanted to mention the fact.
I get what you're saying, but I guess this is where I'm coming from, right? So you're trying to create this sustainable community. You're trying to do all this, which I think is great. But at the same time, you're trying to maximize the development on that site and basically leave no open space other than what's around the houses and what's required in the lots, right? So I would be in favor of the waiver for a 6 lot. Let's say you came in and you said, hey, I could connect to Edge Hill, or I could put a longer cul-de-sac in and I could get 8 lots out of it, right? But I really need one more to make it work. And the public benefit is I'm not going to do the other 2 lots and I have more open space. Like that's when the waiver would make sense to me, is like when you'd be getting an extra lot, but less density that you could build out overall, right? But what you're trying to do is, and I guess where I'm having difficulty trying to understand the public good is you're trying to get every unit you can possibly get on there, and there's really no dedicated open space. There's really none other than the drainage lot or what's around the houses. There's no large plots for farming. There's no so. And that's where I'm hung up. It's like, all right, hey, if you could come in and you could have laid this thing out and you could have got 8 lots out of it, and we only allow, 5 lots, and you need 6 to make it work, and you can have a bunch of deed restricted open space farmland, then that I would see the public benefit. Say, hey, she's not trying to max out the entire thing. There is a public, some open space being conserved. It's just to me, we're saying we want to create a sustainable neighborhood. We want to have open space. We want to have farming. And then we're building to every edge of the property. And that's where I have a tough time seeing the public benefit in that extra lot.
Kind of mentioned from the beginning of the call that we were under the impression that we had that exit point on Edge Hill Drive, and that's what really shifted everything. Because that was one of the first intentions when I spoke to Mr. Silva on this project from day one, is we thought we had that. And then when we found out about the house being built in front of where the easement, where we thought it was, then that became a bigger issue. And we basically created the whole project off of what we thought that was as of right. Because I told you, my intention was not to go density based. Every single house here has a backyard, and they're also going to have access. They have a whole backyard. They're going to have a 4-season pergola that actually is going to be the first peak performance solar pergola in the country, where it's going to be like it has the solar panels with retractable roofs and all of these things, and there's going to be gardens in between as well. So they have a pretty decent sized backyard for each townhouse, as well as access to the farm in the front, which is the main house, which is going to have the barn, and right behind it, we're adding the food systems and all that stuff. So they're not just getting what you're seeing in those 6 lots, they're also going to have that access to the front. And if you remember on our last meeting, when I had come in and I said, I'm going to make the entire development one HOA, including the existing house. Because one of the things I could have done is knock that main house down, and I did not want to do that. I wanted to preserve the character of the neighborhood and really bring in and enhance the beauty of what was there in the most authentic way that I possibly could, right? And that comes at a cost, but I wanted to take that risk anyway, because I know that particular property is a big deal to the community of Bridgewater because of its history.
You did add an ADU to the house though as well, right? So you have 2 units now where there was 1. You have maximized what's there. So quite frankly,
For that lot.
Yes, but you've put an ADU in the house as well as the house. There was a single family. Now there's 2 families. Potentially, you're going to have 10 more families out back if you had 5 duplexes. I hate to say it, but like the Edge Hill thing really doesn't hold water. That's something that's way in the past. You can't go backwards. It's non-existent. Again, I'm with Pat that like there is no open space, and in the to me, in a small space that you're getting, you're already adding an ADU and potentially 10 more units. It's quite a bit for a small area.
I just want to comment. I just want to make sure that we differentiate understanding the allowance of ADUs, which are allowed by right in residential districts based on certain standards,
Right.
with waivers for a subdivision. I just want to make sure that that's
Yeah, I don't think
We separate the two. I
we,
think that what we're looking clearly at is the dead end streets and the unit requirements based on this subdivision.
all right, and we're going to continue this to the next meeting anyway. So, but is there any other board comments or questions at this point?
Don't
No,
see
I
any.
think you raised some good points too, Pat. That's it's.
I mean, it has. We
one
have
of those
to
ones
do
that could go
it.
either
You know,
way.
if they gave us something and we got something more open space, then there's a public good. I'm trying to have a hard time other than the economics for the developer. I'm having a hard time. I don't know how I'd write a decision saying it's in the public good. Why? And that's we have to demonstrate a waiver is in the public good. I mean, I'm fine with the smaller ones like the drainage at the beginning of the street and whatever else. But we have a lot of pressure on us from the town, from councilors, from residents in regards to development right now, and we have infrastructure issues. And I want to be able to say to the public, hey, we did this because it's in the public good, and this is why. And there's no extra open space. It's more pavement. It's maximized out. It's just I have to, I haven't made up my mind on it yet. I'm just trying to think through it and trying to figure out, how
Yeah, no, that's well spoken and reasonable. I will say,
how we demonstrate it's in the public good and why it's good for the town and not why it's good for the developer. And that's what I want to make sure what we do. So.
no, that makes sense. I do wish that that pressure from the town had come, before we were approving mega projects and not landing on like smaller developers like this. But that's what it is. But you give me some stuff to chew on. So
All right, but we're gonna, like I said, we're still waiting for Mr. Tanz's report. We should all think about this and research it, and we got a lot of good feedback from Mr. Silver and Mrs. Barty this evening. So let's all consider that.
Yeah,
And
we
then-
do. I do have a
I,
virtual
I, have
hand
no-
raising.
I know we have public comment. I'll open it up to public comment in a minute. So, do we have any other thing from the board? All right, so I'll now go to the public comment section of the meeting. Is there anybody here from the public? I see a Mr. Gil Martin with his hand raised.
Hello, yeah, Joe Gilmartin, 1499 High Street. I was paying attention to meetings and I saw this one, and I was wondering how that many units would be put on a 5-acre lot on septics when the Title V code limits 4 bedrooms per acre, so 440 gallons per acre, and 10 or 5 duplexes. Are they going to be studio duplexes? Or
I think, I think we can get back to, but I think that's if you're in a zone 2 aquifer protection district. This project's not in a zone 2, correct, Mr. Silva?
Correct.
So Title V, I believe, maybe I'm wrong, Mr. Silva, Mr. O'Brien, but says 10,000 square feet per bedroom if you're in a zone 2 well field. This
Yeah,
is that.
That's my understanding. I can get that information to you guys for the next meeting. Just in terms of Title V, we did provide this subdivision to the Board of Health. We didn't receive comment on the matter, but yeah, I can talk to Board of Health just to confirm that, just so we can be able to address it, and the board feels comfortable with that.
And Mr. Gilmartin, just to acknowledge you and for the record, we did receive your letter that you had sent into the board. I don't think it pertains specifically to this project, but projects in general, correct?
correct. Yeah, just in general, as I saw you guys were looking at making changes with the open space and everything. So I just kind of wanted to chime in and let you know that as a resident, I support changes.
But I know it came in with this hearing this evening, but just for the record, it's not specific to this project, this letter, correct?
No, it was not specific to the project. It was just a letter in general to the planning board. I saw in a previous meeting that you're looking at making changes with open space, and that letter was just a letter in general in regards to that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Do you have anything else to add? I don't want to cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, not tonight. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Is there anybody else from the public that's here to speak? Okay, so I mean, I think we're still waiting for the final review from Mr. Tanzi, so I don't think we should close the public hearing just in case we need to discuss that letter. I'm hoping everything comes in fine, but it's up to the board. Do we want to just continue this to wrap this up on the January 21st meeting?
Yeah, I agree with that, especially because like this all hinges on the waiver, right? So if you don't grant the waiver, then we're gonna have a whole process ahead of us anyway. So I think that makes the most sense.
Right. So, I mean, I just think if you do go down to 10 units, I mean, there's a lot less infrastructure that you have to do, and there's more open space. So that's where I'm at. But go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just had one quick question. In terms of open space, what exactly type of open space are you looking for when it comes to this project? Just the reason I asked that is because we've included yard space, amenity space, as well as the clubhouse space that's going to be in the front of the property, as I mentioned, with the farm.
Well, and none of that's shown on this plan, is it?
It should be.
I don't see any like dedicated open space that's for the neighborhood. I mean, or I mean, it's basically everything's meeting the minimums, right?
I believe so, Larry. I mean,
I don't follow your question, Pat. Oh, she's saying that the
Well, I
open
mean,
space is that,
I mean,
that they have open areas on each one of the lots. That's part of the open space.
well, we require that on every lot anyway, right?
Right.
Right.
But the comment was made that there isn't going to be open space.
Well, like, and I think you guys are the ones that brought it up. I mean, this is like a farming community. There's going to be farms and things of that nature. I mean, it's each lot and is developed to the minimum, so to speak. I mean, there's no dedicated open space for these other activities other than what's on the lots that contain the houses.
I will also mention one of the farming systems that we have is basically a 40 by 8 unit that would usually what you would need 10 acres of farmland for is in the smaller unit and can produce the same amount of output as the 10 acres of farmland. So I will say that when it comes to innovation and maximum efficiency, this is the site that's going to do that through all the sustainability and all these different features that we're putting in. But again, that all comes with a cost, you know.
Pat, I think that prior to your next meeting, I mean, Pam will provide you some information about how this might work in terms of where this open space that we're talking about, how these areas are going to be utilized. So I think that might be helpful to be able to show you that.
Okay, that'd be helpful.
Just get to the Wednesday before the meeting.
It's the Wednesday we call Shane.
All right, so do we have any other discussion?
Oh, I'm good.
Do we have a motion to continue this to the 21st? And Shane, this should be the only thing on the 21st, unless
that is correct, unless we get some sort of A&R. This is the only item we have on the 21st.
So I mean, I think this is a good project. I kind of tend to agree with Mr. McDonald. I do see your conflicts, Pat. But I would like to also see what she's going to submit to us before the next meeting and read all about this farming and farmland and stuff. So that's my perception on this right now.
I'd like to see where the farmland is, because if you look at the plan between septic and houses and driveways, I mean, I guess my thing is there's no dedicated open farmland, or there's no reduction, and there's no, and I go back to, again, if there could be, you could have a piece of land that could have a cul-de-sac that could have 10 lots or 10 duplex lots. And if you came back and said, hey, I need 6, I'm not going to go for 10 because I'm going to do all this open space and I'm not going to tie it to another neighbor. That's when it makes sense. It's just we're trying to max a site out, and there's really, I've talked about it enough. I don't see the dedicated open space, the areas that are going to be committed to open space. I mean, later on there could be ADUs on all these lots. Who knows? And there's less open space. So it'd be nice if there was open space designed. And I say this, that if the cul-de-sac was designed, there's the 5 lots, you could pull that road back about 125 feet. You could lose that. You could lose that lot 4 and just pull the whole thing back about 125 feet and then bring the whole road in 4 feet in terms of pavement. So that talk about sustainability and more open space and things like that, that right there achieves it if they follow our regulations. So, but I look forward to what is submitted. So,
And one final thing, Mr. Chairman, prior to that meeting, I personally would like a ruling on the 11 units,
on the 11 units.
on the 11 units on a cul-de-sac.
Well, you can, I don't disagree. You can't have 11 houses on a cul-de-sac. I don't disagree with that. It says,
I believe that we can have 5 duplexes and 1 single family on a cul-de-sac without a waiver.
well, I disagree, but
Well, I would like a ruling on that because you have conflicting things in your bylaws, but that one clearly says 11 units on a cul-de-sac.
I don't think it's conflicting because you can have 11 houses on a cul-de-sac.
I would say that the ruling would come from the board in terms of their interpretation on the matter. I would say that you are requesting it as part of a waiver request in your waiver request letter. So that request, I guess, would be up to the jurisdiction of the planning board based on that.
And you don't think there's a conflict there that
Oh,
requires you?
I know there's a conflict.
So
we
would
find
that not
conflict.
be something
Well,
that
how is there a conflict when you can have 11 houses on a cul-de-sac?
I would say
11
that
units?
I would say that it would be the same situation when we were talking about curb cuts. I would say that the more specific language would usurp the more general one. I understand what Larry's saying, and I think that's a fair argument in terms of the waiver request. But I think that waiver request really fits more into the discussion of 5 duplexes and 1 single family and leans less into the appropriateness of 6 duplexes.
Well,
Yeah,
Pat
Right,
was
and
also
what I'm
reading
saying
it,
is,
didn't it?
if I have to go in the direction of 5 and have 1 be a single family and then have an ADU on it later on,
I
then
think
I believe that
you need a waiver.
interpretation allows for that.
You need a waiver.
I
for it.
would agree with Pat that you would still need a waiver, but I think that there's
You need a waiver for it. It says dead end street. It says 5 duplex lots, period.
There's 11 units.
Okay, we'll disagree. That's all right.
If there's 5,
All right, so
5 of them are duplex units,
we have a motion and a second already, correct?
no, we don't.
Just the motion. There was no second yet.
Who made the motion?
I did.
Michael did.
So Mr. McDonald, do we have a second?
Second.
By Mr. Praddy? Any discussion? I'll take the roll. Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Praddy?
Yes.
Mr. Geller?
Yes.
Mr. Fabrowski?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll continue this to
January 21st.
January 21st. So thank you very much.
thank you.
All right. Other business, item 5. We have meeting minutes. I did glance at all these. July 16th, August 6th, and August 19th. Do we have a motion to approve those minutes?
I also read July 16th, July 6th, and glanced at, August 6th and glanced at August 19th, and I would offer that motion.
So Mr. Praddy, do we have a second?
Second.
By Mr. McDonald. Any discussion? So I'll take the roll. Mr. Fabrowski,
Yes.
Mr. McDonald,
Yes.
Mr. Praddy,
Yes.
Mr. Geller,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. All right, so board items for next meeting, January 21st. This is all we have right on the agenda right now. Mr.
Yeah,
Brown.
Revolution Road is the only item right now on the 21st. So we're doing our hybrid thing. So
Well, Mr. Chair, I'll let you know, I will not be unable to attend the meeting on the 21st.
Okay. So we'll have 4 voting members then for Revolution Road, right?
I believe so.
Because Mr.
Eric, I think's missed too
2.
many.
Okay. We'll figure that out. Do you have anything for us, Shane, planners report?
Regarding to planners report, I had a kickoff meeting for starting our open space and recreation plan. So we've hired Beals and Thomas to work on the open space plan update. Typically these open space plans need to be active and up to date in order to get DCS grants. So that's what we're doing. So we're hoping to have a survey sent around sometime in February, public meeting at the end of March. So I'll keep you guys in the loop. If any board members want to kind of participate in the process, I'll keep you guys in the loop in terms of how it's progressing. I know that CPC recently did an update as part of that open space plan. So I've given the consultant that information, as well as information about recent hazard mitigation MVP stuff. And just for informational purposes to make people a little more happy, this open space and recreation plan is all paid for through an EEA grant that we got applied for a couple years ago in July. So it's all paid by the state through opportunities through grants. So there's that. I wanted to kind of reiterate opportunities through CPTC training. They have a couple more trainings for the end of winter to early spring for the next couple weeks. They're all webinars. So please let me know if you're interested in that talks about drafting zoning amendments, adopting rules and regulations, and other additional helpful trainings if you haven't already attended some. And then the other item I have on here is I'm working on a working document just based on potential future meeting discussion items in terms of open space definitions. So I've kind of gathered some definitions within the Commonwealth in terms of how some places define open space. Some places separate open space to usable open space and other types of open space. A common trend that I seem to see is that drainage is incorporated in a fair amount of open space, but I think moving forward based on our past discussion, the zoning amendment, I think there is potential for us to look at redefining open space in order to differentiate certain percentages based on stormwater and drainage, as well as what we would consider usable open space, and then kind of go from there. So I'll send something around a working document like a Word doc so people can look at. But if you have any other potential future meeting discussion items, we're in a nice little, I wouldn't say lull, but we do have some abilities for the next couple months to kind of look at conflicts of rules and regulations and zoning that we can potentially fix.
With the drainage like open space thing, what do you think of like maybe it only counts for drainage would only count as like 50% of what it otherwise would or something like that?
I think the way that ours reads is that we'll looking at ours, it as long as it's not to exceed what our current open space is. So we do kind of differentiate that the drainage can never exceed the amount of whatever open space. So we do distinguish between it in not necessarily percentage, but just more so in kind of text. But yeah, I would say that it would be it. We could make it based on percentages. It really comes down to kind of seeing how other places kind of differentiate it, and how we kind of look to do it. Because we could specify it specific to the senior housing village and make those changes, or we can redefine what we define as open space in total for the zoning ordinance.
Thank you.
Anyone else from any boards or committees?
No, I don't think. Anybody else?
Yeah, just basically looking at this Revolution Road, Bahati, whatever. We're looking at just this road. We're not talking about the separate house with the ADU and all these things that she's talking about, because those things can change, correct? We're talking about this.
I would,
Well, Mr. O'Brien, so
I would limit discussion on that to the next meeting, Tom.
Sure.
If you want to, you and I can talk offline regarding that.
Okay, sure.
All right, do we have any other discussion?
No, any luck. Hopefully, it'll actually be in person for the next one, so we don't have to do the whole Zoom shenanigans. I know it's been a pain.
We'll still keep the opportunity out there. I think that we've figured out a way to make hybrid work for people in attendance and not attendance. So whatever works.
Yeah, I know there was definitely a few kinks in the system at the start. So
All right, so do we have any public comment? I know we have that as an agenda item now. So is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak?
Looking for some virtual hands. I don't see any virtual hands,
No.
nor I
If
see
not-
anyone in the chat.
If not, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
So by Mr. Pratty, do we have a second?
second,
Who was that?
Michael.
Okay.
Mr. McDonald.
McDonald. So, any discussion? I'll take the roll. Mr. Fabrowski,
Yes.
Mr. Pratty,
Yes.
Mr. McDonald,
Yes.
Mr. Geller,
Yes.
and I'm a yes.
All right. Thank you guys.
Good night, everybody.
Have a good